All right, everyone. RT Sidebar, it's time as always. I got my great friends here, Mindy, the APRT, Conklin, and JJ, the RT. Very excited to have you both here today because I want to give our audience a little peek behind the RT Sidebar curtain. You know, respiratory therapy, we love our profession. We're prideful for our profession. It's been a challenge since COVID. It's been a little rough. Recently, Barflies, what we've been doing is we've been talking about what is the direction that we should go in. So, Mindy, get us started off. Tell the audience what we've been talking about.
We've been talking about empowering RTs across the globe to engage and make change in a positive way. And let's forget about the negativity and move forward and make our profession great.
I couldn't agree more. Like, because JJ, we're seeing a lot. Like, I don't want to say that the negativity is not warranted. I'm not going to say that. Okay, it's been challenging. It's kind of stunk for about 5 years. But to me, it's time to turn the corner. You're always the most positive person I know. So tell us what you're thinking, man.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, an old saying that I heard a long time ago from John Maxwell. He says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? And I've taken a spin on that, and I said, you have a choice of what kind of influence you want to be. Do you want to be a positive influence, or do you want to be a negative influence? Do you want to sit around sucking on lemons, or do you want to be significant? What do you want to do? And the choices that you make today will impact what you're doing tomorrow. So what are you doing today that will help influence the next generation and will impact our patients in the biggest way?
Mindy, thoughts? Because I think that's the right direction. Like, I think we need to stop and pivot.
Yeah, definitely need to pivot, make our patients our priority. They are our priority. We should be spending more time at the bedside and loving what we do as respiratory therapists instead of sitting in the background moping and complaining about things that maybe we can't change right now. But if we put our hats on and have a positive attitude from here on out, maybe we can make changes for the better, not only for us as RTs, but for our patients.
I agree. I hear this comment all the time, and it's not a good comment, but it's we're the redhead stepchildren of the hospital. And God, I hate that, because before this, I had a slight tinge of red to my hair. But I know so good things going on in our profession. I hear about Moaz. We just talked to Moaz today. Moaz is like basically started respiratory therapy in Egypt, and he's going to be coming on soon. Like, Mindy, you're becoming an APRT, but I also think about the little wins too. JJ, you got a group of brand new students. Like, there's so many wins that I think need to outweigh the negative. Tell us some wins. Like, what's going on right now in respiratory that's just awesome?
I mean, you talk about all the things that are possible. And what's great about here in Texas, when you look at the licensure for Texas as a respiratory therapist, if you have a hospital competency for it, you can do it. So that means pigtails for pneumothorax. That means vascular access. That means point of care ultrasound. That means there's so many different things that are out there and available for respiratory therapists. That's just the bedside clinician. We're not even talking about what you can get into with a disease navigator, with case management, with educator, with director, and the list keeps going on and on and on. You now have 3 people that you're talking to that are entrepreneurs. So you can take this and make it whatever you want. I mean, we love respiratory coach.
He did something.
He gets in front of a fancy board and just yaps poetic about respiratory therapy to respiratory students. But it's not only for them. It's for all respiratory clinicians. It's for all clinicians, really. And it gives you a great foundation so that you can understand respiratory therapy. But the avenues are endless when it comes to what we can do as far as respiratory therapists. I mean, I just got a text message this morning asking from a friend of mine, what should I do a lit review on because I have this as a school assignment?
Mhm.
Well, I recently got asked to do a lit review on the functionality and the efficacy of how the vibration and the percussion in the bed actually works. So now, like, you can take what we do and study it and look at what the literature says and then be a consultant
Mhm.
for device
Mm.
companies.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do um, as RTs. A lot of places we can go, like you said, education, management, sales. We have to think outside of the box and take a risk, take a chance. Exactly what I did. I took a huge risk,
You absolutely
thinking
did.
outside the box to do something that I always wanted to do that wasn't available to me in Ohio. Had to jump ship, and now I'm a PRT. So it takes a little courage. We have to, like I said, empower and encourage everyone to take a risk.
I've been doing this longer than both of you, and I remember the things that we used to do that used to drive me insane.
Mhm.
You just said chest percussion on the bed. I mean, I spent hours doing hand chest percussion,
Mhm.
complete waste of time. And now yeah, see, and I can make the funny noise, make sure it does
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? But we found that was useless. We know that inhaled mucus is useless. We know these things. So people are always like, well, I can't make change. How do we empower RTs to live their passion, to not be the neb jockeys and the knob turners? How do we empower them to change their own path?
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
have
think,
to be this way.
right. I think they have to be confident in themselves to know that they have it inside them to make a change.
Hmm.
You know, if they want something changed in their department, they want protocols, whatever, be confident in yourself, go to leadership, talk. I think once you're confident in what you're capable of doing, the sky is the limit. You can go as far as you want in our profession.
Sure. I mean, you can definitely go in and look at all the evidence and do the work and pitch that to your upline. The downside of that, though, is necessity is what breeds innovation.
Mhm.
Is
Yes.
there a need for people to do something different than what they've been doing? So until
Mm.
there's a necessity for change and accountability, you're going to sit back on your heels and continue doing what you're doing. So what are we going to do to identify the necessity for change unless we make, like you said, the patient the priority? When the patient becomes the priority, now the necessity and the perspective and the view changes tremendously.
Accountability is a word you just used. And accountability at times comes off as a negative, punitive thing. What's driven me is self accountability. I think along the way we kind of lost that a little bit. Maybe it was you had a bad manager. Maybe you're not in a good department. Maybe you got crushed during COVID. How do you build that self accountability back up in your life to really strive for something different? Because right now, I'm going to be honest, Barflies, this can't continue. This is not sustainable. So, how do we inspire? Inspire is a very used up word in respiratory there, but how do we inspire those to be self accountable?
It's, are you looking to live a life and have a career of significance?
Hmm.
If you want to be significant for your patients, then you're going to educate them on the purpose of the albuterol and the value of taking that breathing treatment the most effective way possible. So that when you go home and you leave this place, you can go home and do that exact same therapy. What if I teach them how to do trach care as early as I possibly can so that they can start to manage their own health and they can have an involvement and a say in what's going on with them? Then
Mm.
whenever they go home, they're not coming back within 30 days because they've got a raging infection because they haven't been cleaning their trach. They're educated, they know what's going on.
Yeah, it's the same thing, you know, with family too. You know, say I just sent a person home with cough assist with a trach. Yes, he will be able to use it. They taught him how to use it, but I also want his daughter to know how to use it because she's going to be the primary caregiver at home. So I think involving yourself in during the care of the patient, whether in the hospital and then pre-discharge, educate them, get involved. That's how our patients, that's how our family of our patients remember us as respiratory therapists. They won't remember us as nurses. They won't say, oh, the nurse taught us how to do cough assist. They'll be like, that respiratory therapist took the time to teach us how to properly take care of this trach and this cough assist. So I think that's where we start. We just need to remember that we have a purpose, and that is to provide the best care for our patients at the bedside.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I got a question for you. Well,
Sure,
go ahead,
man.
lay it on there real quick, and then I got a question
No,
for you.
no. Ask your question. I like to talk. I'll answer questions.
Right? So Mindy and I are both adult care. You came up with the critters, right? So
the critters.
yeah.
He doesn't have kids
It's
yet.
so different.
Exactly.
Right? It is so
It is
different when you're taking care of neonates, pediatrics. The sentiment is they didn't do this to themselves like an adult did with their COPD, their lung cancer, whatever it may be, right? There's a different sentiment, and there's almost a different level of rules and governance when it comes to neopeds versus adults.
Yeah. Wow, what a good question. So, I've done both, but I have always dedicated my clinical practice to kids. And a lot of it is for what you said, is kids didn't do this to themselves. They need an RT. There's so many respiratory diseases that affect children, not endocrine diseases or nephrology, like respiratory issues. So I always felt like I was more on the forefront of that, which gave me a lot of pride. But as you said it, what is different? I think this is what's different. When you're with a kid and a family of a child, you're focused on them, period. One patient at a time. When you're with adults, sometimes you think about your assignment at a time, which is all of these people that you become a factory worker. In kids, those different rules, I think that's the different rule. It's not only expected, it's encouraged to really focus one patient at a time. Is that so? I'm so glad you said, because it's exactly where my mind was going. Sometimes the small wins need to bring joy. If you have an assignment that looks like this, but you influence one person, that should bring joy.
Absolutely. There's
135,000 respiratory therapists. If we just influence one patient a day, we've influenced them all. But I don't think, I think at times we feel like the world's on our shoulders because I have to do this, when really we get the most joy out of this.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I loved working in the neurocritical care, because I had the patients with a neuromuscular disease, which later on in the year, we'll talk to one of them, Cody, who's agreed to come on. And I built this good rapport with them because they're at the moment in their life where they can't do anything for themselves. They're basically paralyzed, and they rely on you so, so much. So you have to build that good rapport with them so they trust you. And then at the end, when we talked to Cody, I did a lot of advocating for him. So, I mean, I look at my patient by patient. I don't think of my assignment when I was doing bedside, because every patient needs us at bedside at a moment in their life when they're struggling or they're hurting or, they're at end of life. So I think it's very important for us to be present every single moment that we were with a patient, whether it's in the ICU, the ER, or just regular floors when you're given nebs.
JJ?
Well, I was just going to say, like, when we opened this, we talked about kind of the frustration that's looming in respiratory therapy.
Is adult care, we manage that piece of paper that's in front of us with all the tasks, and they don't become people. and kids, they're people. The families are people. So if we can humanize adult care maybe a little bit more, maybe that can help us get back to center a little bit.
Sure. Sure. Coach and I have had this conversation multiple times. How do we go back from when I graduated and when I was an intern, I was shown how to deliver 60 to 75 treatments in a shift.
Mhm.
And it's start at 5:01, go around to 5:48, and then take everybody off. And wear your rollerblades. Go on and get them as many as you possibly can. And part of this is from like when I was a child and I was given a chore list. If you don't get that chore list done, what's going to happen when parents get home, right? You're in trouble. So
Mhm.
you take that same mentality of you have this chore list, this to-do list, all of these tasks
Yep.
that you have to complete. But as a clinician and a technician would be one that would complete all those tasks. But a clinician should be able to evaluate which ones are necessary and be able to deliver the ones that are required, not the ones that are on the sheet just because they need somebody to go evaluate that patient every 4 hours.
I think we're on to something here, guys. You know, I believe in respiratory therapists. And we could tell respiratory therapists, hey, you need to be more positive. Hey, you need to care about your patients more. But I think that we as therapists need to lift each other up instead of
Sure.
trying to pull them up. Let's rise together. I think about so many experiences and stories. And I think that that's where we need to focus this year is stories that really empower, advocate, where respiratory therapists are champions, but also where respiratory therapists are influencers.
Mhm.
I think that's where RT Sidebar needs to go, especially with you guys, Mindy and JJ, with your own platforms, like really inspiring and lifting people up together might be a better tactic than we have had in the past, maybe.
Yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
without a doubt. I mean, that's definitely, one of the things is you choose the type of influence you're going to be today. What decisions are you making today that is going to be seen by somebody else that will influence them?
Mhm.
Um, Recently, I went to Corpus Christi to go check on a new clinical site. I was kind of orientating them to our platforms that we use for
Hmm.
documentation, and they were orientating me to all the expectations of their hospital. And when I was in an elevator, somebody said, "Hey, are you Alicia's husband?" And I'm like, "I'm JJ the RT. What do you mean, are you Alicia's husband?"
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I didn't say that, but that's what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
And when I get back to the car and I see Alicia again, I'm like, you'll never guess what happened. Somebody just asked me if I'm Alicia's husband. And she's like, that's why you have to live a life of righteousness,
Oh,
because you never know who's watching. And the same thing applies here is you have to live a life of influence because you never know who's watching. Somebody is always, always watching us. And we have to make sure that the decisions we make are honorable and are doing what's best for the patient 100% of the time.
right. And I think about family members who are in the patient's room. And sometimes we have kids, we have teenagers, mom and dad's sick, grandma's sick. They're watching everything you do. How do we grow our profession? We need to recruit while they're young. So if we give them a positive spin on what we do and we make an impact on that patient, their mom, their family member's life, maybe one day when they get older, they'll be like, I want to be that respiratory therapist that saved my mom.
Is that where we should go with RT Sidebar in 2025, season 3?
I definitely think we should go there. I think we should put a little inspire all RTs across, not only US, but the globe to go the extra mile, do a little bit more, and come out starting your day with a positive attitude. it's not that hard to open the door and put a smile on your face. Even in the toughest times, it could bring a smile to somebody else's face.
I had the head of housekeeping at Levine Children's Hospital, part of our leadership group, and we had huddle in the morning. And frankly, she didn't give a crap about anything. And she said, "Hey, when you're walking into that room, you need to fix your face." And we're like, "Oh my God, just say you fix your face," because their day's worse than yours every day. So fix
Yeah.
your face,
Yeah.
show up, be present, because you are, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes, you are influencing your patients, you're influencing family because somebody is always watching. Oh, I love
Absolutely.
this. I love this.
You know, the other thing that we definitely need to do, the other thing that we definitely need to do this season is build on collaboration, right? We always,
Yes.
you've got two brand new circles of influence that are part
Mhm.
of RT Sidebar. There's people that are in my reach that aren't in yours, and there's people that are in Mindy's reach that aren't in yours either. So we need to make sure that our reach goes beyond and starts to circle and almost makes a huge hug around respiratory therapy and all the
Yes.
barflies and all of
Yes.
the respiratory therapists that we have. So, I mean, just as far as you can reach your influence, you're also going to start to collaborate, because when that happens, you just build. It's one of like an old saying, many hands make light work. And if you have hands that are working against you, then that makes the work harder. So what do we need to do to inspire, to influence, to empower, to champion, to advocate,
Mm.
to get people to move in the same direction so that we can group hug? I'm not saying sing kumbaya, but what are we going to do to work together to make sure that these patients are receiving the best care possible?
I love this. We have friends, right? We're popular people. People love Mindy and I, especially, but a little bit of JJ. People love us. Like we have friends that influence. We have respiratory coach,
Yeah.
friend of the show. We have Mandy DeVries, AARC, friend of the show.
Yep.
We have Linda Nozart, friend of the show. We got to bring this because we can go, "Hello, everyone," and I kind of want to do a little kumbaya. There's only 135,000 of us.
I think it's
That's
a big Care Bear hug. You remember the Care Bears from the 1980s?
Oh,
When the Care Bear shines his light, it's like a big Care Bear hug, guys. We're going to hug because I'm a hugger. So every conference I go to, I hug everyone because they're like, "Mindy," and I'm like, "Hug me. I'll give you a hug."
so what do you want as we pivot into this land of possibility? JJ, what is it that you want to see out of RT Sidebar, out of JJ the RT, out of Mindy the APRT Conklin? Like, what is it that you see? What's your vision? What do you hope to see in 2025 and
Well,
beyond?
so I'm gonna spin this a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what we expect from ourselves, right? We kind of know what we expect from ourselves. What I
Mm-hmm.
expect from our listeners is to come approach us. When you see Mindy, when you see Matt, when you see me, JJ the RT, when you see us, come approach us. Come take a picture with us. Let's do a sidebar, a snack right then and there, and talk about all of the different things that are going on so that we can continue this movement of what we're trying to do. We've got, what'd you call them? Something franchise, Matt?
Content franchise.
Content franchises. And I'm going to let Mindy drop hers because hers is
It's awesome.
ridiculous. But there are so many different things that I can do as an expert, that Matt can do as an expert, that Mindy does as an expert. And we are an open source. You can ask us anything, you can talk to us about anything. And if we don't know the answer, we probably know somebody who does. So
That we
don't
do.
be afraid to approach us. Come talk to us. We love you guys, and we want to see you guys be a part of this as well.
So you just opened the door for a little Mindy content franchise. Mindy, what are you hoping for in 2025? And like, I know you have an idea, and I think it's pretty freaking cool for the barflies to see. So tell us, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm going to just kind of piggyback on what JJ said.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to ask questions. So I'm going to do a mini mic moments with Mindy. So little tidbits of information, ask me questions. I'll answer questions in a fun way, whether I'm at a different conference or we're on sidebar or just on the side. I might pop up on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and answer questions that people might have about RT or APRT, the future of respiratory therapy. If I don't know the answer, like JJ said, we have plenty of friends around that can get the answer for you. So Mike, Moments with Mindy is coming.
So good. That is
It's
so
so
good.
And every time I'm gonna struggle spitting that one out of my mouth.
It is. I had to like looking at my phone, like, didn't say it right, say it right. It's just a lot of M's.
I literally have it right here. Okay. I think these are like having fun,
Sure.
champion, empowerment, influence. I remember recently at ARC, we were just talking about respiratory coach. I said, we were doing this thing with influencers in the field, and they said, "Well, Matt, you're an influencer." I go, "I don't feel comfortable with that word influencer." Aren't all RTs influencers?
100%.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be influencers? Even if it's one patient at a time. That's what I want to see. I want to see respiratory therapists prideful about their profession, prideful about the work that we do, and share the stories here with us. Come up to us, tell us an awesome story. I'll turn a microphone on anytime. JJ, I know you do it. Mindy, we've already told you to get your little microphone so you can just start interviewing everybody. I think that's great because I think that's really what empowers other things to look forward to. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in production. I'm going to make it a little bit cooler. I'm older than my co-hosts, and LinkedIn is not the most fashionable place to be having fun, but we're going to expand into different markets, especially with JJ's platform on Instagram. Mindy, you got a great platform on Facebook. Like I've been watching you on Facebook. You do a great job. People follow you with that. I think expanding our reach social media wise, I think having fun, having exclusive awesomeness for our exclusive Barfly group that we have on LinkedIn, but branch out to TikTok a little bit, talk to students, do some of these awesome things, but really bring the positivity to this season because I think that's what we need more than anything else. I can't wait to hear awesome stories. That's how I feel.
Yeah, we've got some great ones lined up. I mean, Mindy, you already kind of dropped it a little bit with Cody, knowing what's going on there, right?
Yeah.
Matt, you've already had Kaylee Dayton with the Awake and Walking ICU. Well, when I worked at the bedside and came back to my home hospital, they had started an early mobility program, and we're going to connect Kaylee and the CNO that I had at my home hospital so that they can have a conversation. You talked about Moaz, right? He is a freaking trailblazer. Mindy, I know that I've labeled you as a trailblazer, but this guy, his imagination is insane.
Oh, I met him in Congress a couple years ago, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job with what he's doing over there, and it's Egypt. So
yeah,
yes,
he brought RT to a whole country.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Imagine what you could do here in our resource-rich United States. He did it in Egypt. So amazing.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to having Jessica Patel on.
Jessica Patel.
Yeah, I'm so excited about her conversation with us.
Her residency program that they're doing at Memorial Hermann with Anna and all those, it's unbelievable. And it's getting published and it's getting recognized. We have Chrysalis coming on. She does a lot of stuff with home care. How do you empower patients to take care of themselves, like you were talking about there? We have Katie Burr and Amanda Nickel coming on. You want to talk about strong, powerful leaders. Powerful, changing the world. Like we just have so much awesome stuff coming on. So what I want all of our barflies to think about is that you have stuff coming your way. We want you to engage with us, like super engage. We have a scavenger hunt coming up. I just got to get through compliance. Maria, I love you, by the way. We're going to try to get some merch up and running. You want some RT Sidebar merch? It's going to be amazing. We have a veterans group that Mindy's going to start talking to. We might actually have specific merch just for our veterans, which would be awesome, like exclusive awesome stuff.
What if we did like a Better Breathers Club episode on this? Could
Why
we do
not?
something like that?
Of course we could. I'm thinking of a certain person in California, Crystal, that does all of this work navigation wise, so she would know exactly who to talk to when it comes to better breathers.
Yeah.
And God, that'd be so much fun, right?
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like, let's
Why
just
not?
open it up to the public.
I want to do a middle school episode where we have middle schoolers come and learn about respiratory therapy.
Oh,
And it
I
can't-
like that idea.
Like, because that's where they start to dream about where they
Mhm.
want to be when they grow up, right? You can't ask my son who's 17. He's, yeah, I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm going to be a police officer because I want to shoot guns.
Let me make sure compliance is what it needs to be.
Yep.
But with that, the students that are interested in the healthcare or respiratory therapy itself, they actually come over the summer to do a simulation in our sim lab.
Oh,
So they interview all these different careers, and those that are interested in healthcare, they get education on an asthmatic patient, and we run them through a simulation for a pediatric with asthma.
That's so
that's really cool.
freaking
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I
Cool.
know when my kids were in school, I had to go to the school for part of my respiratory program, and I did to do education on why not to start smoking and what smoking causes. And I made an impact on those kids. I'm sure hoping they're not smoking now, but they had lots of questions after about what is a respiratory therapist.
I want to give my first shout out before I hand it over to you guys. Rob Fishwick. Rob Fishwick was just recently on another podcast talking about COPD, how it works, and how to prevent, but also how to treat COPD. Brilliant. It was on YouTube. I'll make sure that it's in the show notes so everybody can get to it. So, Rob, big fan, huge barfly, like a big, gigantic horse barfly. But we're so happy to have you. Congratulations, my friend. Who's next?
Go
I guess
ahead,
I'll
Mindy.
go. So I'm in here in Ohio, so I have to give a big shout out. We just had a big APRT review for MBRC
Mhm.
outcome assessment exam that is being created. And so I have my shout out goes to Jess Schweller. She put 2 years of content
Oh.
and education into 2 8-hour days up there at Ohio State to review everything that we learned through the program to give us a study guide like we would use like the Kettering review to study for a board
Nice.
exam. So it's that to refresh our brains. So when the outcome assessment comes out, we are ready to take it and to pass it. So huge shout out to Jess Sweller. She is amazing. And of course, she's a Buckeye.
For me, it goes out to Dr. Brian Walsh. When he was
Oh.
AARC president, he came to Texas, gave his AARC update, but he also gave us a lecture on some of the initiatives that he was working on with
Mhm.
safe patient handling and vent alarm settings and alarm fatigue and all of the initiatives that he was pushing during that time. And I actually did my first presentation on alarm fatigue based off of what he inspired
Mhm.
out of me, or what he inspired me to do. And just recently, he asked if I would do a talk with him. And to
Whoa.
me, that is such an uber blessing
Mhm.
to be asked by somebody who has led the country of respiratory therapists to be a part of the talk. And I have to give a shout out to Mindy because the talk that I'm going to be doing is point of care ultrasound. And Mindy has
Yay.
been my keynote expert when it comes to point of care ultrasound whenever I'm teaching our students. So she was gracious enough to share her notes with me so that I could create the point of care ultrasound portion of the imaging talk that we're going to be talking about. We're going to do EIT and point of care if we get selected.
Kick-ass.
That is
Kick-ass.
so
That's awesome.
exciting. Yeah,
That's
point of care
awesome.
ultrasound is awesome. So I think all RTs should learn about it. Even if they don't do it, they should have some knowledge about it. So thanks for sharing the love of ultrasound, JJ.
Oh, there's a love there. There's a love there.
I believe that there's going to be a day that all ICU therapists have an ultrasound in their back pocket. I do believe that day is coming. Also, since you shouted out Brian, we got to shout out Melissa. She's an ambassador this year. She's going to be coming on very soon, so we're super excited to have her. But this is where we're at. Barflies, I hope you're inspired. I hope you're excited. Like I'm excited for 2025. Obviously, oh Jesus.
Like you said, it's going to be the
Off
future.
you.
Why would I not have one?
You
Is
plug
it-
that
it-
into your iPhone and you can just scan lungs. You just go scan your
No
wife's lungs,
way.
see what they look like. Yes. It is amazing. The technology they have these days for point of care ultrasound is amazing. It can go to an iPhone, it can go to an iPad, and a lot of times they can download to Epic from that.
Really?
Mhm.
We might have to have an episode on this because I've been seeing a lot of EIT. I know some of our friends, Margie White, who we know very
Yep.
well from one of our colleagues from a different company. You know, she pushes EIT quite hard. Maybe we need to talk about this because I don't know a lot
Mhm.
about it. I'll be honest, but it feels like the right move. Like I want to just go and scan somebody to see if they have a pneumo.
Like if you're
Freaking
going to be
JJ.
innovative, if you're going to be cutting edge, and you're going to lead the way, why wouldn't you set the example?
Mhm.
This might be a mini mic moment with Mindy.
With Mindy.
When I had to look down that. But like
It's a tongue twister.
it is a tongue twister. I like it. But no, let's plan on that one. That's a good one.
Mhm.
So Barflies, you have a lot to expect from us this year. You have excellent episodes when it comes to advocating, being a champion, inspiring, influencing, and empowering. And think about it those ways. We are going to give you stories about how to be successful. We are going to give you stories that are going to make you feel good. That's our job, and that's what we want to do. And you're going to see clips and have fun, and we're going to have mini mic moments with Mindy. I spit it out right that time. We're going to have JJ doing his on the scene interviews like he always does. We are going to have fun this year, and we are going to make this a positive experience because you know what? We deserve it.
We do
Sure.
deserve
All of us deserve some positivity in our life. Thank you guys so much
Mhm.
for being my friends, to be inspired. You inspire me. I hope I inspire you. I hope we can inspire the 135,000 respiratory therapists that are out there. So to all the barflies, JJ's got something.
No, just real quick. I want to go around the table real quick. And the next conference that you're at, or the next time you're out of town, just spit it out there so that our audience knows where we're going to be and when, so
Mhm.
that they can come up to us and say hi.
Mhm.
The next one I'm at is actually with Mindy. I'm at the New York State Society Respiratory Care Conference in Batavia, New
Batavia.
York.
Mhm.
It's between Rochester and Buffalo. Mindy and I are going to be there early because we're going to go have some fun. And but we're going to have RT Sidebar episode. Mindy's talking and I'm talking. Come up. Hey, you want to have a shout out? You want to talk about a cool story? We'll record you because it's all about positivity. Mindy, do you have anything before that? You probably do because I've seen your schedule's crazy.
I'm going to University of Maryland just as a guest. So I'm not speaking there this year, but I'm going because I have friends who are speaking, so I want to see them. But my next talk will be actually in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So I will be
Oh.
their keynote speaker on the
Let's
APRT, and Susan actually gave me an hour and a half to talk about the APRT.
That's so good.
Well done.
That
So
is
I
so
know I'm
good.
very, very excited. I know a couple RTs from there have reached out to me and they've been talking to me over the last several years about the APRT and the growth of it.
Mhm.
And they're actually coming to the conference. So it'll be good to meet them in person. It'll be like a Mindy JJ moment. Like I've talked to you for years, but I haven't met
Yep.
you yet kind of thing. And then April just takes off and I'm back to back to back. I think I hit 5 state conferences and maybe 7 days. One is virtual, but the rest are a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. How about you, JJ? You got your hands in every pot. I mean, where are you going to be at?
Well, the one that I'm missing out on this year is Florida. I loved going to Florida last year, but they're having their conference during the time of my birthday, and I just never work on my birthday. So, Florida,
Listen.
I love you, but sorry, not doing it
No,
on my birthday.
and so everybody knows Alicia's in charge. And if Alicia says no birthday,
That's
no
right.
birthday's happening.
That's right. The day before, though, I will actually be doing a kind of a spin-off project where I'm teaching nurses and healthcare providers and home care individuals about mechanical ventilation, indications, contraindications, when we should start navigating to weaning these patients off and going to other devices, other modalities. So I get to do a workshop on that at the end of this month. And then the end of next month, the 24th and 25th, I will be in South Padre, Texas at the South Region TSRC event down in South Padre. So looking forward to a little bit of beach time down there. We'll get on a virtual sidebar. We'll do some stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for everyone in Texas, I hope you're ready. TSRC in Texas this summer will have all three of us in the same place at the same time, which does not happen often, but it's going to be brilliant. I cannot wait.
And it's an entire workshop. You're going
Mhm.
to get us for an entire workshop. So you can spend the day with us asking us all kinds of questions so that we can advocate, navigate, promote, and inspire all the fantastic things that we're going to do through our workshop. So if you're looking forward to it, sign up.
Well, I just want to empower everyone. So every conference I go to, ask questions, tell me your story. I'll share your
Yep.
story if you want me to, but I want to empower you to become the best RT that you possibly could be and to achieve your goals. So this year is going to be exciting.
Hey, we have a lot of friends, but we have a lot more to make. And I'm super excited for that. And I cannot
Absolutely.
wait. So for all of us at RT Sidebar, we have to say what Anna always says is stay tuned. We're super excited. See you soon. Vapotherm does not practice medicine, provide medical services, or advice. Any clinical recommendations provided herein are solely those of the speaker. Practitioners should refer to the full indications for use and operating instructions of any product reference before use. Hosts and producers are paid employees or consultants of Vapotherm, and guests are not compensated.